Big poppin', money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me what the topic.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite guys and doctor, that girl Henny. And today we are going to be pouring up on Karmelo Anthony. So if you're new here, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click that notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. So as we all know, Karmelo Anthony's evidence, the videos, everything has finally been released. But, and there is a big but, this information that was leaked out to us or dropped off to us or whatever the case may be, however you want to look at it, it doesn't satisfy my palate. I don't know about yours, but it for damn sure does not satisfy mine. I was expecting more of a clear video. If they were going to release a video, we were correct. If you were over on my Twitch stream yesterday, we went over the conversation that happened on Freezy's channel, No Captivity, where Mel of Watching the World 777 and T Sturdy, I believe his name was. T Sturdy is one of the people that stood outside of the courtroom and was telling everybody that there was a 4K video that was so clear that you could see the birds flying in the background and all of that. And a lot of people gave a lot of different accounts of what they saw on that 4K video. And everyone who was in court, they came out and they gave content stating that the video they saw in court was blurry. So that caused this huge debate as to who was telling the truth. Were they showing bogus videos? But as I said yesterday when I was on my Twitch live, I believed that the jury was shown a different video, just like everyone who was in court, just like shout out to Nick at Night, Queen Sheba Darling, and Mel from Watching the World 777. They all said the video that they were shown was blurry, okay? And that the jury got to see a separate video. Now, testimony in this case has already been testified to and given accounts of from people who were inside of the courtroom that defense attorney Howard did call out a lot of the people who took the stand for not giving accurate accounts that would have aligned with statements that were made to the police. Now, I do have the police report here as well. As you can see, I have the full police report. I have statements. I have already read some of it. I have highlighted a lot of things. And there are things that were said that I did not see that came out in body cam as well. I have not finished it completely, but Officer Cortez and Allison Ricci, they were the ones who actually walked up on Karmelo Anthony. We do have that body cam footage. In this police report right here, it is said in quotations that Karmelo Anthony did say, "I'm not alleged, I did it." Okay. And that he also had asked what happened, if what happened could be considered self-defense. Now, I did not hear that in the body cam footage that I have watched, which I am going to play for all of you. We're going to go through this footage. Okay. We're going to go through this footage. So if you are here, get comfortable. All right. Let me say that again. If you are here, get comfortable, because we're going to go through this footage. Now, I also have some of the photographic evidence. I don't know how some people thought that Karmelo did not have a knife, because he did indeed, and in fact, have a knife. There's no getting around that. But before we get into any of the other things that have come out in this case, let me first get to y'all this video that was shown to the gallery in court, okay? So like I said, we are going to be going through video. So y'all get comfortable, because we've got a long night ahead of us. I wasn't going to come live, but I felt like I would be doing this story a disservice by not coming and giving you guys the information. So this right here, I can't even put myself there. Let me go ahead and put myself over to the side like I started to. As you can see, right next to me is the tent. Okay, I'm gonna play this video for y'all, and then I'm gonna take y'all to my Instagram page where I got a close-up on the tent. So there is no sound to this. You cannot hear what is being said, but keep your eyes on the tent. Okay, this is the tent right here. Now, as you can see in the video, we can't tell who's black, who's white. Okay, but what we do see, let's go back. This is what we see. I'm going to slow it down. Okay, this is what we see. Right here is the altercation. Let me back up. You see there are people moving around. Boom, there's the altercation. All right, let's do it again. There are people. Let me pause it. In the back here is where your attention should be. If you could see my cursor, this is where your attention should be. All right. I see clearly 1, 2, maybe 3 people that are standing right here. Karmelo is sitting down. Okay. Watch closely, because if you blink, you're going to miss it. And there goes Karmelo popping up out the back of the tent, and he's running down the bleachers. That's where he slipped a bit, and then he takes off running. Okay, he's running down to the track to go where the coaches are. So now let me get you guys the Instagram video that I posted, because the Instagram video that I have up is a bit closer, and you guys are able to see a little bit better. Hold on one second. I forgot. All right. Okay, so this is from my page. Zoom this in. Pay attention to the tit. Did y'all see that? Let me run it back one more time. This is where you need to be paying attention to these blurs. And I don't know if y'all could even see my cursor on the screen, but towards the back of the tent, you can't see my cursor. Where the tip of this arrow is, the top of this arrow that's pointing towards the tent, that's the area you need to be paying attention to. Boom, there goes Karmelo. Okay. So that is the video that was shown in court to the gallery. Let me get these comments a bit bigger and wider up on the screen. And let me see what you guys are saying over here. You don't see the cursor, but did you see the back of the tent? She said, I can't tell nothing. I didn't hear that either. Yeah, you can't see anything. You can't tell anything until he pops out from out the tent. Okay? Now, the next video that I'm going to show to y'all is going to be the body cam footage. Now, the body cam footage, oh, I didn't mean to close that out. Hold on. The body cam footage is very interesting, okay? Because remember, I read to you in a piece of the police report where it says that Karmelo said that's self-defense. Now, I haven't seen body cam footage that aligns with what the officer said in court. How do I close that out? All right, I'm on my Facebook page. So if you guys want to see the full 4-minute video, it is on my Facebook page. And this is it right here. I've been getting people coming at me about this when I cut it up into 3 pieces, because I cut it up into part 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to play for you the full body cam footage. Let me zoom in for y'all.
And they're currently treating the victim. Again, he's on the north end of the stadium.
Can you guys hear it clearly? Let me know if you guys can hear it clearly. Okay, y'all can? All right, good.
All right. Anyway, he's on you like that. Go ahead. I'll look here. I know I'm not. 4-4, copy. I'll be in route. Y'all back up a little bit. Come over here for me. Go here. I'm gonna put your handcuffs for now, okay? Dispatch 443. Everybody can slow down. I got the alleged suspect in handcuffs right now detained. Hold on. You can open up the channel, and medics are clear to come in. Have them come to the northeast entrance. That's gonna be a gate that's wide open there, and then you come to the victim from there. This is the alleged suspect. Okay. What's there?
He said it's very low. So I had to put my headphones in, right? But he said it's very low. He says the alleged suspect. Karmelo says, I already know how this goes. I'm not alleged. Okay?
So nothing on your person at all? Nothing? Mind if I reach in your pockets and stuff and all that? Nothing stabbing? Not bad. A little personal there, okay? Just to make sure. Okay. All right. The victim's going to be underneath that tent over there, so I'll get medics. Memorial tent over there, guys. All right. He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
Now that is Karmelo crying, saying he put his hands on me. I told him not to, and he put his hands on me. Now, a lot of people want to zoom in on this part right here on the date, because the date says 2/10/2016. That's not an 8, that's a 6. That's not the proper date at the bottom of this video. But this is the proper incident that happened. But there's a discrepancy there when it comes down to the date and the footage. But you hear him clearly say, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. I'm going to bring it back.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. Victim, we're on the north end. They got staff standing to him right now. This is the alleged suspect. Already, no. We searched them. Got nothing. I don't know what happened. 413. Check the legal CPR process for a little bit. Crazy. Should I drop in? Sorry, whatever. It's up to you. It's up to you. Fine. This is closer. Okay. Let me do one more little check of you, okay? You don't mind ever reaching your pockets, anything like that? You good?
I'm wearing some little under. No, ma'am, I don't think so.
What's your name, man?
Karmelo Anthony, Karmelo.
Okay. Have a seat here real quick, man. Watch your head. Let me check your hood here, buddy, okay?
Yes,
I'll tell you what, lean this way so you're not resting on your hands, okay? All right, see a little bit of blood on your hands there, okay? All right. So your first name is Karmelo?
Yes,
Let's see. Hold on one second. I don't know yet, man. Karmelo. C-A.
Now, what he asked right there was, he said, is he going to be okay? And he said, I don't know, man, and proceeds to take his information.
K-A-R-M-E-L-O. Karmelo. What's your last name? A-N-T-H-O-N-Y. We're ready.
I'm 12th.
10th grade? You go to Emerson?
No, sir.
Where do you go? Centennial. Okay.
I'm in 12th grade.
12th grade? Okay. No, Centennial. All right, sit tight for me real quick, buddy, all right? Let me run this guy real quick. I haven't talked to him at all.
Now,
I got these.
that is the Officer Cortez. Okay? Officer Cortez was the arresting officer because the videos of the footage do not show in 4K, darling. Let me just tell you that. Now, y'all have already watched. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to show y'all the irrelevant footage that was given, because what sense does it make, right? Why waste our time? Because we're going to read this police report. Oh, yes, we're going to read the police report. So let's go ahead and let's watch. Well, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Can y'all please share the video out for me? Okay, so this is footage. But do y'all see? Can you see my cursor? The tent is all the way over there. The tent is all the way over here. How are we supposed to see what's going on? Can y'all see my cursor? How are we supposed to see what's going on? We can't see what's going on in this footage. And this is an 18-minute long video right here. But we see the whole track. But we can't see what's going on inside of that tent. You see people running around the tent. But you can't see what's going on. You can't see the fight when the fight breaks out. It's too far away. So to me, that was irrelevant evidence, okay? Now let's look at the other one where they've gotten closer. And this right here is part of the 4K video that the people were saying they watched at the and this camera moves, as you can see. The camera is on the tent. All right, we're looking for when the girl in the yellow poncho goes and enters into the tent. But as you can see, if you look back here, you can't even tell who's who. All you could tell is there's a bunch of people, and this is supposed to be the 4K video. This is supposed to be the 4K video. And I know some people are going to say, well, it had the 4K video. Let me see. I want to put my music on, because I haven't had music on in the background in a while, and I like it. Okay? This is supposed to be the 4K video that is zoomed in on, and we still can't see shit. Pay attention to the tent. Now, people were saying that they saw The Metcalf boys walk in after Karmelo walked in. That's not highlighted on this video. I'm going to tell you right now, the only part that is highlighted is when Karmelo pops out from behind the tent and takes off down the track. But this is the video that the jury watched. The first video that we watched, that was the video that the gallery watched, the people who showed up to court. That was the video that they watched. This is the video that was shown to the jury. There's no date on this particular camera, and there's no time. But this is the full video. Look, it's a 15-minute long video, you guys. 15 minutes. Now, we want to go to where the girl in the yellow poncho, right there. See the yellow poncho? She's in the tent now. So now let me clear the screen because I don't want nobody to say that I did anything. Pay attention to back here because that's where they are. The Metcalf twins, Eddie Parra, the other student, they are back here. And this looks to me like there's multiple students standing up. It looks like multiple students standing up to me. There goes the birds that T. Sturdy said he saw flying around in the video. All right, pay attention to the back of the tent. There it goes. I think, wait a minute. You see movement going on in the back? We can't see what's happening back there. We can't hear what's being said back there. And I find it very hard to believe that they don't have another camera angle that shows what was going on. I find it hard to believe that they're under the tent for this long and nobody recorded anything. Look at how long this is taking. Now, I'm not refuting what anybody says, but I can't see what anybody is doing physically in the back of that tent right now. I can't see nothing. Can y'all see something? I can't see. Now, boom, there goes the big altercation, and Karmelo pops out from behind that tent. Are y'all able to tell what happened? Let's bring it back. I can't tell what the hell happened. And what I don't like is the fact that y'all highlighted when he was running from behind the tent, but you couldn't highlight when they was all in the back of the tent for everybody to watch, right? Don't worry. I got y'all because we going to look at the video that I put up. Excuse me. The video I put up on my Instagram page. Okay, we're going to look at that video. Because in that video, I did get a little closer without blurring it. It's not blurry too bad. But you can see in the back of that tent, boom. You see the altercation. And you see Karmelo run off and the kids scatter. Okay. Watch again. What I see is somebody's arm up, or what looks like somebody, boom. Now we go back and forth. And Karmelo pops out of the tent. Can we see what's going on in the back of that tent clearly? Either in this video, because this is supposed to be the 4K video, y'all. That's the 4K video. That's the video that they showed to the jury. This is the video that they showed to the gallery. Sorry, y'all. And I'm zooming all the way in. This is the footage that they used to convict Karmelo Anthony. We see people pushing. Let me see what y'all saying over here. The coaches are all out on the field. It looks like they were creating a wall to deter a view of any sort. Possibly. Any, do you think a kid video something they are holding from the defense? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I see a hit when you said, there it goes, but it's multiple people standing. They recorded this on Snapchat. They need to get those records. It doesn't really delete. Okay, I've never heard this was recorded on Snapchat. That's the first I'm hearing of this. They kept repeating him saying, find out and see, but didn't tell what was said for him to respond in that way. Because if it displays Austin as the aggressor, it was self-defense. Right. But you're saying people pushing. It looks like pushing to me. What can a jury determine from just that? Exactly. Yeah, I saw shoving and then looks like a Why are you like this? Okay. All those kids and no one had anything to say. They had a lot to say in court. Okay. Wait a minute. You zoomed in. It was a yellow haze over the fight. I didn't put a yellow haze over the fight, baby. Ain't no telling, hey, Brick City, what's popping? Okay, more than 3 was people pushing, and you could see the black shirt swung. Okay, kid, it's his right to self-defend. Free Karmelo. I smell a Brady. Well, that's if he get the right defense attorneys, okay? Cops know metadata is never really gone. They do. All schools with cameras have multiple. I don't even understand what that is. Oh, I see what you mean. There's a yellow haze over the video. I see. I see what you're saying. There's a yellow haze, like it's blurring it out or something. Because even Karmelo looks a little blurry. But this is what they gave us. This is what they gave us. This is what they showed in court. And this was what, that was me breaking the news to y'all, child. Don't look at that video. That's it. And then you've got multiple people who took the stand that perjured themselves. They perjured themselves, you guys. All right. So the arrest report is kind of long. But we're going to go through the arrest report. Because I want y'all to try to remember this arrest report. Now, tomorrow night, I am going to have Mel from Watching the World 777. I'm not sure if he'll be joined by Attorney Calvin, but they're supposed to join us. So let's go through this arrest record, shall we? So it says on April 2nd, 2025 at 10:01, I. Stanley School Resource Officer E. Cortez heard over the radio dispatch call out a stabbing. Okay, and it was called to the David Kulkindle Stadium. All right. He says, I immediately left my office and ran across the Stanley Middle School parking lot towards the southwest entrance into the stadium. As I entered the stadium, 2 high school age students informed me that the victim was on the northeast of the stadium by the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent. I did not identify these students. Next, I proceeded towards the north end of the stadium. visitor side on foot. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit because I know some of y'all like to read for yourselves. As I got closer to the north end, I could see the Memorial High School tent with multiple individuals under the tent. Once I arrived on the north side bleachers, an adult male who was on the track pointed out the suspect. I was not able to identify that witness. The individuals that was pointed out to me was a black male wearing a gray hooded sweater and a dark colored Nike pants. The suspect at this point was on the track on the north end. Pause. Because people were saying that Karmelo ran and that he was trying to get away. We watched the footage. I didn't mean to highlight that. I can't even undo it right now. Hold on. Yeah, it's not giving me the option to undo. We watched him. If he wanted to leave, he had ample time to leave. So if the video can show my son could be out of hold on. If the video can show my son can be out of jail with this video, why his mother not doing interviews on CNN to get her son out of jail? They had 600,000, paid him 100,000. Where's the money? That is a valid question as to where the money is, but right now we are on the police report. Because there's a lot of information that was given in the testimony in the trial that ain't adding up. All right? So he says that he arrived on the north end. So Karmelo was not trying to run away. He was not trying to get out of being caught. So that is a false accusation. All right? There was a chain link fence that separated me from the suspect. I gave the suspect instructions to keep his hands up in the air, which we saw. During this time, the suspect said verbally out loud, "I was protecting myself." Stop. Did we hear Karmelo say, "I was protecting myself"? I did not hear Karmelo not one time say, "I was protecting myself." Okay? It should be noted that I had not questioned him about the incident when he made that comment. I asked him if he had any weapons. He said no. I patted him down for weapons while we were walking along the fence, and I did not locate any on his person. Stop. He patted them down as they were walking along the fence? Didn't we just watch that body cam footage? He walked him along the fence, then arrested him by handcuffing him, and then he patted him down. I instructed the male to continue walking along the fence, which he complied, towards an area where there was an opening in the fence that led off the track. While walking him off the track, the suspect said, "He put his hands on me." Did we hear that? Did we hear that? Listen to the lies. Then I detained the suspect in handcuffs, handcuffed behind his back, and had him sit down on the ground. Officer A. Ricci had arrived on the scene at the time. I conducted another pat down of his person and then searched his person after he gave me consent. No weapons were located. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had the alleged suspect. The suspect then responded and says, "I'm not alleged, I did it." Next, Officer Ricci and I walked the suspect to patrol vehicle 2412, which was Officer Ricci's vehicle, which was on the northeast gate of the stadium. As we were walking to the squad car, the suspect was emotional and he said, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." Stop. We heard him say, "I'm not alleged, I did it." But we also heard him say, "I know how this goes. I'm not alleged, I did it." I did not question the suspect about the incident while he was escorted to the patrol vehicle. I searched his person again and had him sit in the back seat, driver's side, of patrol vehicle 2412. When the suspect was in the back seat, I noticed fresh blood on his middle finger. I verbally acknowledged that I saw the blood out loud so that it would be captured on my body cam, which it was. It should be noted that the suspect asked, "Is he going to be okay?" while he was in the back seat. Now, the problem I have with this statement, Tariq Cook, stay on topic, please, and thank you. Stay on topic. We're on the lies that are being told right now. Stay on topic, sweetie. Now, you just watched this body cam footage. I'm going to play the body cam footage again for y'all if I need to. This officer says, the suspect said verbally out loud, "I was protecting myself." Did y'all hear him say that in that video? Yes or no? Y'all let me know down in the comments. I didn't hear that. The only time I heard him say, "Put his hands on me," and I told him not to, was when he was walking to the car. I didn't hear him say he put his hands on me before he was detained. But you know what else? Let's keep reading. I then identified the suspect. He provided his name and date of birth verbally, Karmelo Anthony, black male, with the date of birth of, which I ran through the Frisco Police Department dispatch. After Jay Hancock arrived on the scene and remained with me and the suspect at this point, Karmelo was then checked via eSchool database to also confirm his identity. His identifying information he provided matched the individual I had in custody. Next, I was advised by Sergeant Holland to transfer the suspect to the Frisco Police Department jail. Officer Hancock and I transported him to the Frisco Police Department jail. Again, I did not question Karmelo about the incident. Upon arriving at the Frisco jail, Karmelo was escorted to the intake area. Jail staff changed him into jail attire. I remained with the jail staff the entire time that he was changed over. The clothes that Karmelo was wearing was placed in a paper evidence bag. The clothes remained in my possession from this point on until Karmelo began being placed in the cell. I continued to keep possession of his clothes. I returned to my patrol car along with Officer Hancock, which is the FP Sally Port, and placed Karmelo's clothes in the back trunk. I drove the vehicle out of the Sally Port and parked the squad car in the police department parking area. Karmelo's clothes remained in the trunk of vehicle 2412. Crime scene technician K. Diller then took possession of Karmelo's clothes. I added my body worn camera to the case. No further information is reported. Let's see what Allison Ricci says. Okay? So Officer Ricci, she says, I was operating a fully marked Frisco police vehicle 2412 at about the time I was dispatched to a report of a stabbing at the stadium. Okay, Frisco police dispatched advised an athlete had been stabbed. The suspect was described as a black male wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt and blue pants. I responded code 3 from the area of El Dorado Parkway. I arrived on scene at approximately 10:05. They got here really quickly. If the stabbing happened at 10 o'clock, the police were there at 10:01 and 10:05. I ain't never. But anyway, when I arrived on scene, I approached the track and field area and saw Officer Cortez kneeling next to a black male wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt and blue sweatpants. The male later identified himself as Karmelo Anthony. He was in handcuffs and was seated on the sidewalk by the entrance to the track. As I approached, Officer Cortez stated that Anthony was the alleged suspect. Anthony then made a spontaneous statement and stated, "I'm not alleged, I did it." Officer Cortez conducted a pat search of Anthony's person to ensure Anthony did not have any weapons and found nothing of evidentiary value. Officer Cortez and I then walked Anthony to my pre-searched patrol vehicle, and Anthony was seated in the rear side compartment of the patrol car. While walking to my patrol car, Anthony made another spontaneous statement and asked if what happened could be considered self-defense. Another spontaneous statement and asked what happened, if what happened could be considered self-defense. I replied by telling Anthony I didn't know what happened. It should be noted, the in-car camera in my patrol vehicle was activated prior to Anthony being placed in my vehicle. So where's that video at? Leave them. Leave them. Leave them. Let them run the engagement up. Okay, at 10:02, and responded to the call with his patrol vehicles, overhead emergency lights and sirens. He arrived to the call around 10:06. Sergeant Otis arrived to the stadium and began walking. Now, why is Sergeant Otis writing in third person? Sergeant Otis walked up to the visitor bleachers and observed the victim being treated by Fresco Fire Department. And athletic trainers. The weather began to turn and it began to heavily downpour rain. At this time, some of the FISD staff moved the memorial tent to cover the victim and the FFD personnel. Sergeant Otis began using his city-issued phone and snapped crime scene photos to preserve as much of the scene as possible due to the weather. The large gathering of people that were there involved in the incident. So there was a large group of people that were there that were involved in this incident, which we saw that there were a bunch of people under that tent. All right. Other officers began to set up a crime scene with tape, moving non-essential personnel out of the immediate area. The officers on scene were informed that the knife that was used was tossed and was still believed to be somewhere close. Eventually, one of the witnesses said they remembered seeing it on the bleachers still. Stop. If it was tossed, why was it still on the bleachers? Anyway, let's not go there. Officer Schultz was able to locate the knife. It was located between rows 9 and 10 near seat 30, closest to the aisle, partially open. The rain began to come down heavily, and it was determined that instead of moving the knife, the officers would cover it with a large blue tarp. Sergeant Otis assisted in preserving the immediate crime scene as much as possible, while the other personnel tended to the victim and eventually transported him. At around this time, Officer Welts had the crime scene log and began logging the individuals on call to the best of his ability. Okay. Issued a phone. He took approximately 33 photographs. We have not seen 33 photographs that were used to document the incident. During the download, the initial photograph formatting was incompatible with the crime scene folder. He re-downloaded the photos that he took at this time. There's nothing further. So that's it from Officer Otis. Officer Welts really doesn't have much to say, but I found this part interesting in his testimony because he said, he grabbed the crime scene tape. He says that he informed Officer Otis where the witness stated the stabbing occurred and gave him the crime scene tape to start securing the crime scene. I had Blank move to the walkway under the visitors' bleachers out of the rain to further speak with me. The following is a summary of my contact with Blank. Blank advised he was sitting under the Memorial School pop-up tent with his team and was near the victim, Austin. This is where we get testimony at. and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony. Anthony was from Centennial High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under the team's tent. And Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." No one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag. Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what Blank recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest, and then ran away. Austin began grabbing his chest, telling everyone to get help. Blank advised that he did not know Anthony's name, but stated that Memorial Track member EP, which is Eddie Parra, was friends with Anthony and he could identify Anthony. Blank described Anthony as a black male, skinny with possible goatee, short puffy hair, and wearing Centennial High School clothing. This concluded my contact with Blank. Oh, he says that he spoke to Eddie Parra. Okay, they were both breathing heavy and crying due to the nature of the events. Okay, they were with the coaches on the field and it was pouring down rain. So he says we made the decision to relocate to the locker room just to the east to get out of the rain. Once in there, things calmed down a bit. However, they were still hysterical and could not really talk in there. I learned Hunter was the brother of the victim. I attempted to ask them both what had happened. I couldn't really get anything from Hunter, but Eddie stated he wanted to speak. I asked him what happened. He stated they were sitting on the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent with another male who he did not know who Karmelo is, right? And that he walked over and sat under the tent. So he's not admitting that he did not give him permission to, he's not even saying, I know this dude. Lies and deceit, okay? Then Austin, the victim, told the male that since he didn't go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. Eddie had said during that time of Blank had said during this time of argument, the male was reaching around in his bag. It was at this time the male took out a knife and stabbed Austin and left the scene. That was all Eddie remembered when he talked to me. Okay, so that's the account that Eddie gave to the police officers that the defense attorney was able to turn around while he was on the stand and prove that he was perjuring himself. All right. Now, when we get to Officer Schultz, they pretty much say the same thing, and Officer Schultz was working on the scene. But one of the things that I found interesting about his police report is that he said that Sergeant Otis located a blue tarp, and we decided that we should cover the knife without touching it in attempts to preserve the evidence. It was windy, raining hard. Once we positioned the tarp over the knife, I reached down and grabbed a backpack left in the stands, who weighed the tarp down and threw it up by where Sergeant Otis was positioning the tarp. It was later discovered that the backpack I threw up onto the tarp was the suspect's book bag. So they had the suspect's book bag. There's nothing else really that is relevant in these police statements. But this is Officer Ricci's body cam footage. Oh, it does have audio. Hold on. Let me turn the music off so we can hear. Let me turn the music off so we can hear.
Suspects. Okay. No, I'm not. I know how it goes. I'm not alleged. Okay.
That's the end of her body cam footage. Let's play it again.
The alleged suspects. Okay. No, I'm not. I know how it goes. I'm not alleged. Okay.
I'm not alleged. I know how this goes. I'm not alleged. I did it. he should not have said anything. Unfortunately for him, even with the self-defense, let me say this to you. For all of those, he got what he deserved. He's a murderer, murderer, murderer. That boy has to live with the consequences of his actions. Even if the jury would have gave him self-defense, even if the jury would have gave him manslaughter. Okay, this is Karmelo entering into the stadium. He still has to live with the fact that somebody died. And there he is walking into the stadium, walking past the other tents. Okay, those are the other high schools. Those are the tents. All right. And it is a tragedy what happened. I can say that as a mom. I've already played that. I think I've already played this too.
If somebody is shooting the victim, then you be over there. Don't reach for anything, all right, man? Stop right there for me. Dispatch 443. Oh, hold on. And I'm protecting myself. If somebody is shooting.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Here we go. He did say I was protecting myself, so I stand corrected.
Oh, hold on. Protecting myself. If somebody is shooting the victim, then you be over there. Don't reach for anything, all right, man? Stop right there for me. Dispatch 443. I got the suspect. And they're currently treating the victim. Again, he's on the north end of the stadium. All right. Any weapons on you like that? I'll look here. How long? I know I'm not. Y'all back up a little bit. Come over here, woman. Go over here. I'm gonna put your handcuffs for now, okay?
Okay, and they couldn't do nothing because everything said before their Mirandized is inadmissible. Well, blacks doing what blacks do. Oh, wow. You like being racist, huh? See, here's the thing about people. We haven't made this about race the whole time we've been on here. Not one time did we make this about race. Yet here comes somebody making it about race. Tariq, I'm so sorry. I accidentally timed you out. I'm so glad you're back. I'm so sorry. I got a little trigger happy. I'm glad to see you're back. Yeah, they did make it seem like it was raining cats and dogs at the time. You know, let me leave this comment up here while I address this really quickly. As a black woman and as an African-American, melanated, voluptuous, beautiful black queen goddess that I am, I see the injustices that go on in this country. And the one thing that I'm not going to do is ever sit up here and act like justice sees us clearly, because it does not. Okay? The justice system has always been unjust for people of color. The sad part about it is the colonizers whose ancestors, the forefathers, their ancestors are the ones who wrote all of these laws. And it's them who have benefited and lived the life that they live from the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. Whether you have African ancestors or indigenous American ancestry. They didn't build this country. We did. It was our ancestors. These laws that were put into place to keep us in bondage and to keep us as slaves. Why else would there be an amendment? Which amendment is it? The 13th Amendment that makes you a slave? Because see, y'all don't know how to get it out the mud. If it was left up to y'all would have never built this country. Every railroad track that was laid down, the White House, a lot of the engineerings and technology that we use came from people of color. All their ancestors know how to do is steal and beat down and belittle. When it comes to justice's eyes are wide open for them. But when it comes to people of color, justice is blind. Lady Justice doesn't see us. And that is what I have been speaking on. So I don't know where the fuck these people come from. And I don't give a fuck about them. Okay? We're going to pull this up. Specifically for you, the world is a simulation. We're going to pull this up for you. Kyle Rittenhouse. You want to go there? Let's go there. Let's go here to Kyle for a second, shall we? Let's go to good old Kyle for a second, shall we? I forgot the kid's name who stabbed some kids right there in Fresco and got away with it. Remember, he stabbed the Latina kids because they were bullying him? Yeah. But in the meantime, let's look at good old Kyle Rittenhouse.
In the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, found not guilty on all charges after the shooting deaths of 2 men and injuring a third. Rittenhouse, 17 at the time, who came from another state to Kenosha, where there were protests against police.
He came across county lines with an AR-15 to go to a protest and ended up killing people. That is premeditated.
Armed with an AR-15, Kyle Rittenhouse shaking as he stood to hear the jury's verdict. One charge after another, not guilty, breaking into tears and, as you can see, collapsing before the court. His mother, Wendy Rittenhouse, in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, found not guilty on all charges.
Find the defendant, Kyle. Read the jury.
And tonight, his attorney says Rittenhouse wishes none of this ever happened. What the families of those who were shot and killed are now saying, and word tonight from President Biden. ABC's senior national correspondent Terry Moran leading us off from Kenosha.
The defendant will rise, face the jury, and hearken to its verdicts.
Kyle Rittenhouse trembling with emotion as the court clerk reads the jury's verdict.
The first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Those jurors, 7 women, 5 men, finding Rittenhouse not guilty on all the charges.
As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Immediately after, Kyle Rittenhouse bursts into tears, collapsing into his chair, embracing his attorney, overwhelmed by the moment.
You gonna tell me? I would love to hear your racist ass who was just in here talking about blacks doing what blacks do. Where you at? Where you at? Everything's a simulation. Did y'all put him out? I would love to hear your explanation for this. Kyle Rittenhouse put an AR-15 in his vehicle, left his home, crossed county lines, and went into another city, another portion of his state, where they were having a protest. Kyle Rittenhouse got into it with people at said protest, pulled out his AR-15, and killed them. Where's the outcry of murder? Hey, Smoked Out. Why is no one calling him a murderer? Let's hear your justifications for Kyle.
Would you wish the jury polled?
The jurors took their time sifting the evidence and law, deliberating for about 26 hours over the course of 4 days. Lead prosecutor Thomas Binger briefly reacting to their verdict in court.
The jury has their immunity in this trial and has spoken.
Rittenhouse claimed self-defense after he shot and killed Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber and wounded Gage Grosskreutz during a protest last year over the police.
Uh-oh.
In the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, found
Not guilty.
Would you wish the jury polled?
6 hours over the court to their verdict in court.
The jury has spoken.
Rittenhouse claimed self-defense after he shot and killed Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber and wounded Gage Grosskreutz during a protest last year.
Okay, I don't know why it's not working or what's happening with this, but an error keeps occurring. I'm not going to keep trying to force it. But as you can see, Kyle claimed self-defense and he got away with it. Is it because it was white on white crime? I'm just curious, because at the end of the day, shouldn't there be outrage for this? I'm trying to pull up this kid. I saw him the other day when I was looking at Texas cases, and now I can't find it. All I keep seeing when it comes down to people being stabbed is Karmelo Anthony, and he's not the only one. There was a kid who, if you guys, is this it? Stab classmate after being hit first. There it is. Clayson Allison. Let me get him. Clayson Allison. I'm about to pull this case up. Because we gonna talk about this. Oh, yes, the hell we are. Because people gonna stop coming for us. Like when we're talking about justice and injustice and all of that stuff, like we're wrong for it. So, you know what that means? If you've been around, you know that means that we just got a letter. It's not different circumstances. It's absolutely not. Okay, well, you know what? Stay right there, 99 Problems. Since you said different circumstances, let's go here, shall we? I want to hear the excuse for this. I want y'all to meet Kyle Allison. He got a maximum sentence of 10 years for a deadly stabbing at Belton High School. Okay? Clayson Allison was convicted of criminal negligent homicide by a jury in April following the death of fellow student Jose Ramirez at Belton High School. Explain this.
When hail season hits,
because you want to say that that was different circumstances. So now let's take you to Texas, right? And let's give you a same scenario. And let's see what you say. What say you?
Former Belton High student Kason Allison was sentenced today to the maximum 10 years in prison for the fatal stabbing of fellow student Joe Ramirez.
This comes after a jury found Allison guilty of criminally negligent homicide, and a judge added a deadly weapon enhancement to his potential sentence. 6 News reporter Sydney Walker was in the courtroom for today's sentencing and has the latest.
Nearly 3 years after Joe Ramirez died, the man who stabbed him will spend a decade behind bars. Judge Wade Faulkner sentenced Allison to 10 years in confinement in the institutional division. This comes after 9 witnesses testified, including the mothers of both Ramirez and Allison, school employees who responded to the stabbing, and Allison's therapist. 3 Belton ISD staff members described lasting trauma from that day: sleepless nights, anxiety, and PTSD. One teacher said the incident forced her into medical retirement. Joe's family tearfully shared how his loss has changed their lives and say they haven't received true justice. The defense presented Allison's parents and counselor, who testified about his growth and remorse over 3 years of therapy, revealing that Allison is now a father. Defense attorney Boyd warned that prison would be a, quote, death sentence for his client, and asked for just 2 years. But prosecutors successfully argued for the maximum, calling Ramirez's death, quote, entirely avoidable. When Faulkner announced the 10-year sentence, Ramirez's family erupted in applause and cheers. The judge quickly restored order while Allison's family sat in stunned silence. Following the sentencing, Ramirez's mother took the stand, looked Allison in the eye, and said, quote, "You get this measly 10-year sentence while I'm serving a life sentence without my son." The DA's office said, quote, "They hope today's verdict can allow Joe's family and our community to move forward." Allison was immediately taken into custody and booked into the Bell County Jail, where he began his sentence today.
So, where you at, 99 Problems? How? What's the difference? Same situation, okay, except Allison Belton, he was actually in school. There was an incident in the bathroom between he and Joe Ramirez. Joe Ramirez hit him and he stabbed Joe Ramirez and he died. It is the same thing. You just don't want to have it the same way. That's your problem. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to believe it. You don't want to know. You don't. It's the same case. School property. Someone touched him. He stabbed him. We don't know what happened prior to Karmelo Anthony. Let me explain something that's different. Let me explain something. No. You brought up a very good point about we know the history about what happened with Allison and Joe. We don't know the history between the Metcalf twins and Karmelo. To say that they never met, that's not true. How could you say that they never met? Karmelo Anthony played on Centennial's football team. Austin Metcalf played for Liberty's football team. Karmelo Anthony ran track for Centennial. Austin ran track for Memorial High School. There's no way you're going to tell me that these two athletes in that town never cross paths, that they live in Collin County, but they never cross paths, that they don't know each other from being on rival teams and they're on rival teams. You can't tell me that they don't know each other. And other kids testified that the Metcalf boys were bullies. I didn't say they didn't know each other. I didn't say that. DC Chicago just said that. I never said that. That part. And they did perjure themselves. Like I said, Allison, where the hell is my Allison one? There you go. All right, so let's get into this. Clayson Allison was sentenced to 10 years in prison Tuesday for the deadly stabbing of Joe Ramirez, making the conclusion of a high-profile case that has deeply impacted the Belton community. The Ramirez side of the courtroom erupted in applause once Judge Wade Faulkner read the sentencing. Emotional testimony and visible grief filled the courtroom Tuesday morning during the sentencing of Allison, who was convicted last month for the fatal shooting of Joe Ramirez. Allison was convicted of criminally negligent homicide, something that was not even on the table for Karmelo Anthony, but let's continue. By a jury in April following the death of fellow student Joe Ramirez at Belton High School. A judge later found that the deadly weapon was used or exhibited during the incident, which expanded the maximum sentence for Allison. He faced 2 to 10 years in prison for Ramirez's death. Hearing began at 9 a.m. Both Allison and Ramirez's families were in attendance. Attorneys submitted probation reports and requested judicial notice of pre-sentencing, which is normal. Several members of Joe Ramirez's family took the stand, offering emotional and heartbreaking testimony. Stop, because Karmelo's attorney didn't call anybody except his mother up there, which to me was very damaging because he should have called other people up there. Ineffective counsel. Anyway, Amanda Rios, Joe's mother, sobbing on the stand, says our life is not the same. Nothing is the same anymore. She added that Allison gets to carry on and live a life her son does not. That sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound just like what someone else said in court? And she said that you get the 10-year sentence and I get a sentence of life without my son. On the morning of May 3rd, 2022, a fight broke out between Allison and Ramirez in the bathroom at Belton High School. After the stabbing happened, Allison, who was 18 at the time, left the school, which led to the campus being placed on a precautionary lockdown. So Allison stabbed Joe Ramirez and left the scene altogether. I mean, left the building. He didn't even just go to the parking lot or anything. He left the whole scene. Allison was later arrested off campus while Ramirez was taken to the hospital where he would later die. During the trial, witnesses testified about the tense relationship between Allison and Ramirez, even stating that Ramirez had pulled a gun on Allison following a prom after party. Ramirez's ex-girlfriend also stated that the fight was supposed to happen off campus and that Allison admitted to wanting Ramirez on life support. He wanted him on life support. So here's the thing. You want to bring up that Ramirez pulled out a gun on Allison prior to, right? But did Ramirez have a gun at school that day? Did he pull the gun out on him when they were in that bathroom? Did he? We don't know what the history between the Metcalfs and Karmelo is, because Hunter never took the stand and Mello never took the stand. So there are bits and pieces of this story that we will never know. But that was a case of premeditation, and that was also murder. What's the difference? What's the difference? I mean, that's possible. Okay, so let's talk about that too, Tariq. Because Tariq says that if Melo's mother didn't tell Austin's daddy to F off, that Melo killing Austin, after Karmelo killed Austin, that he thinks that Karmelo would have gotten 10 to 15 years. So let's talk about that, right? So, in the heat of all of this that's going on, under the advisement of Dominique Alexander, the father was told to basically F off when he showed up to their press conference. Now, I feel like this. This is my personal feeling. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong neither. It's just my opinion, just like Tariq has an opinion and everybody else. I personally feel like if the intention was pure, then why not arrange for that to happen? Why just pop up? Why just pop up at the press conference and say, I come bearing peace? And see, we also already know that Dominique Alexander did not mean that family any good. What's my problem? 99 problems. That's not my problem. Don't you think that that would have looked a lot better if it was already discussed instead of just popping up? Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree. I agree that Dominique Alexander was a huge problem in this case. He was a huge problem for this family. A huge problem. I agree with you on that. I think they would have done better without him. Me personally, if my child had just unalived someone else, murdered, forget it, because we're adults. If my child had murdered someone else's child and they showed up at my press conference that I'm getting ready to give, and I don't know what your intentions are, I may not have wanted them there neither. But I know me, I would have asked, why are they here? Can somebody find out what he's doing here? What does he want? And we don't really know what the intentions were still. We don't. We know what he's saying after the fact. And I'm sorry, I cannot believe that somebody who has said some of the most egregious stuff that he has said had 100% pure intentions. Maybe at the moment, I don't know, but sitting up here and for like the watermelon felon thing, that was too much for me. And then to go on and talk about, oh, you don't even know who your fathers are. You got baby mamas with eight different baby mamas and EBT, and y'all are mad because your people were sold to my people and we put you to work. Like that stuff, you don't get a pass for that. People keep excusing that and saying he's a grieving father. Who's eating chips? I'm not eating nothing. He wanted to say, oh, look into my past. Look at your past. Look into my past. We did. We did. And this is going to piss some of y'all off. And I don't give a fuck. I really don't. Because at this point in time, either we're going to talk and we're going to have the real conversation or we're not. We did. And look what we found. Jeffrey Charles Metcalf. Arrest date June 14th, 2021 for sexual assault. And guess what? This record is closed. This record is now closed, so you can't even pull it up. A second-degree felon. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I agree with you. They should have never gotten in bed with Dominique Alexander. When we're talking about them, it just doesn't. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm being very honest right now. Okay, I don't want to cover the mother up. I don't like that. Okay, you know what? Let me just do this. Okay, I'll go down to the bottom. And let's just observe them for a minute.
Both of you, Drew and Kayla, thank you so much for joining me this morning. How are you guys holding up?
I mean, right now we're in a nightmare. Doesn't feel real. We've been up all night, crying, praying, waiting for family to come in. We have some family who has made it. We just right now lost for words, waiting for him to give us a call as soon as possible.
So you haven't heard from him just yet?
We heard from him yesterday. He actually suffered from seizures, so we actually have to bring his medicine to the courthouse. So we're waiting for him to give us instruction to get there.
We know Karmelo from the courtroom, but tell us, who is he? What kind of person is he? What kind of son is he at home?
He is a wonderful son. He's a wonderful student.
3.7 GPA, worked 2 jobs. I'm
sorry, baby, for cutting you off. He was actually taking online classes during all of this and still held a great GPA going through this traumatic time.
So let me say this, okay? Let me say this. While everybody has sympathy and empathy for the Metcalf family, I find it very, very disheartening how cruel people are to this family, as if they're not going through their own separate issues. And see, my thing is not about that. My thing is about the system not being fair. There's no way. I don't care what side you're on. Don't be delusional. The evidence didn't line up. It should have been manslaughter or criminally negligent homicide, not murder one. Not murder one. And that's my feelings on it. And that does not mean, because I feel that way, that I don't feel any type of empathy or compassion for the other family. My heart is not hardened. And I'm entitled to feel that way, just like everybody is entitled to feel how they want to feel. But I just feel like this has not been fair. That wasn't a bad idea to say, because why would y'all go with Dominique Alexander and allow this man to lead you into ruin and destruction? But I'm going to let the father tell you.
He was a kid. If I didn't say it, he was a captain of his track team, football team. He was working 2 jobs. He actually saved the kid's life. That the mom, he jumped in the pool, and saved the kid's life, which was amazing. I didn't know how great he was until this tragedy.
And nobody talks about that. Everybody paints this kid as a monster instead of a kid who got into a bad situation and made a bad decision. He's a monster, and Austin Metcalf is a saint. Come on. Come on. Be fucking for real. Hold on. I just want to say this. He jumped in a pool and saved a child from drowning. captain of his football team, 3.7 GPA, working 2 jobs, no criminal history until now. You want to know what's crazy? Austin Metcalf, captain of his football team, 4.0 GPA. Two kids, and in 1 second, testosterone, sportsmanship, ego, whatever it may be, changed the trajectory of their lives, changed their families' lives forever. One is here and one is locked up for the moment for damn near the rest of his life. Does anybody understand the severity of all of this? I know a lot of y'all do that are here, but I'm talking about the ones who are just out for, yeah.
I want to add some things to that. At home, he loves cooking, whether it's in the kitchen, outside, grilling. He makes the best hibachi. He loves running routes and playing soccer with his younger brother, Kingston. He has a brother named Andrew. He's 12, and Andrew is into doing science experiments, and Karmelo loves helping him with science experiments. He loves putting Legos together with his girlfriend. He's just a lovable, sincere child.
Yeah.
You know,
You just said the best comment of the night. WC for Life 23. Young kids always quick to use weapons. It's not like the old days where you throw hands anymore. It sucks. It turned out this way. Karmelo was voted by his peers as captain of his football team and track team because Karmelo was very remorseful and he wanted to know the outcome of Austin's results. You could hear, I guess, it in his voice, not wanting things to elevate to this degree, but he was jumped. Now, I'm just going to say things elevated and escalated to a degree. My racial issue with all of this deals with the justice system, the judicial system. That's my issue. My problem is when it comes to people and the public, whenever it is a black and white situation, there's always a divide with us. And when we start speaking out about the racial bias, it's a problem. Really quickly before I press this play button, what people need to understand, Texas, Juneteenth was just a couple of hours ago. It is now 1:26 a.m. on the East Coast. So it is now June 20th. But on June 19th, that was the day of Jubilee because the last set of slaves were freed. For 2 years, Texas didn't tell their slaves they were free. For 2 years. To say that racism does not exist in the justice system would be to ignore everything that history has shown us. And if you don't like this, it's going to be a jagged pill and a hard digest for people who don't want to hear the truth. And I don't care what color you are, this is the history and these are the facts. Since the slaves were freed, the Ku Klux Klan existed in the South, burning crosses on lawns and swinging niggas from trees. Let's be real. And them same people that put on white sheets to terrorize the communities were all, out of those white sheets, they were your sheriffs, they were your deputies, they were your police officers, they were your mayors, they were your judges, they were your bail bondsmen, they were the bailiffs in the court, they were your city council members. The good old boys. And if you don't think that that good old boy system still exists in the South, you are blind. There's a reason they want to erase Black history. And it's not because it's fake. It's because it is something that is such a stain on this country. And it runs so deep. And it's caught up in all types of politics. And you can't sit here and tell me that Clayson Allison taking a knife to school with the intention to stab Joe Ramirez and making statements that I want to see him on life support, you can't tell me that criminally negligent homicide with a deadly weapon enhancement that gave him 10 years was feasible in a different situation. It was a different situation because Karmelo never said those types of things about Austin that we know of. But they want to say that it was premeditated. But for Clayson, it wasn't. Kyle Rittenhouse drove across county lines into another portion of another city for a protest and shot and killed 3 people. He drove with an AR-15 in his car, shot and killed 3 people and used self-defense, and he got acquitted. How? Rick Chow shot Cyrus Belton in his back one time and it pierced his heart and he died. He chased that boy 130 yards away from his store. And you're going to tell me that the system is not ignorant to people of color? Come on, man. Come on. I can keep going. I can keep going. All I'm trying to say in this video right here, I just gave you the facts on Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse did. What did that video just tell you? Everything that I just said. What do you want me to? Oh, I skipped over the fact that Rittenhouse got jumped and he shot them people with the AR-15. He crossed state lines, right? He crossed county lines with the intention. He's taking an AR-15 with him with the intention to shoot somebody. And let's see what happens with Cohen Wiley, who was shot, the 1-year-old that was shot in Mississippi and died by a police officer. Let's see what happens. Yes, he did 99 problems. Yes, he did. Hold on. Okay. Okay. No, all of us are wrong. He did not drive the vehicle, the gun across state lines. He drove himself across state lines. Apparently, according to Google, the AR-15 was already stored in Wisconsin. So he already had it stored in Wisconsin, which doesn't help his case either way. It doesn't help his case because then that means you drove across state lines from Illinois to Wisconsin and you went and picked up the rifle and took it with you. So you still had intention there. It's still, exactly, it still sounds premeditated regardless to how you slice it. It's just that he didn't cross state lines with it. But he did cross state lines to go get it and take it to a Black Lives Matter rally. Me too, Jessica. But let's get back into this video.
Do you feel like the world, just going through this trial, got an accurate description of who Karmelo really is?
No, we've come to find out, which we were before all this. We were a family that basically stayed to ourselves. We were very close knitted. My wife's at home. She stays at home. I was working, and we didn't know how cruel the world could be. They have his face plastered all over after he was, while he still was a minor. And it was like, everything was happening. We was getting threats. They doxed us. I was so clueless and so involved in work. I didn't even know what doxing was. They put our address online. And so we had people coming to our home. So we ended up having to leave in our home. Like they had us in some type of protective thing, whatever, to get us, to keep us safe with our other kids. The world right now, it sounds unbelievable, the things that he accomplished before this tragic accident. Like it will really mess you up. And as me being a father, I didn't realize, like him saving a life. I just, as a father, I got caught up in, hey, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your.
So let me just backtrack for a second in what he said. He's talking about having to move. Did you know that the family had to move 8 times? So people think that what happened was they got this $600,000, right? And that they just went and moved into this upper class area. First of all, they already lived in a decent area, but they've moved 8 times. And the last time they moved was to a gated community. They had people showing up to his house. They had people showing up to their house. They had people making memes about Carmelo Anthony and putting him in a dress. And saying that he was going to be violated in prison. The Griswold, yes, I have. Because the 13th Amendment, it does abolish slavery. And it abolishes involuntary servitude, except for punishment. Convicted criminals are slaves. Have you read the 13th Amendment? Because it frees slavery unless you are a convicted criminal, at which point you are a slavery. I mean, you are. I've read Uniquely's comment. You are a slave. Yes, darling. I've read it. I've read it. But now back to them. They've had to move 8 times. And the father, because they were calling the job and harassing, the father lost his job. The mother is a stay-at-home mom. And in this economy, in order for her to be a stay-at-home mom, his wife, that means that he had to be making sufficient enough money for them to live in an affluent area and for her to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. And I know that that's hard to believe because the first thing that people want to think is, oh, they're on welfare. That's why she's a stay-at-home mom. No, the father worked. He lost his job behind this. But this is the stuff that isn't being talked about. And when it gets talked about, it's looked at as an excuse. No, this is there. That is not misinformation. What are you talking about? You're not correcting my misinformation. And I have no problems with saying that I'm 99 problems just proved me wrong. And I just came back and said, you know what? He's right. I said, nope, we've all got it wrong. He didn't travel with the AR-15 across state lines. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that the 13th Amendment doesn't abolish slavery and indentured servitude, but at the same time, that doesn't cover convicted felons. Convicted felons are back in slavery. So where's the misinformation in that? You name them.
Expectation, being a man, hey, that's what we do. We move on. Like him working, hey man, you're supposed to have a job. I was trying to, you know how it is that young, it's like with your girl too much, man. You need to get a job, get a hobby. So he's working, but I kept him busy too. And this whole situation, is the reality of this is that somebody literally walked in his life. Literally walked into his life. He did everything by the law, and look where we at.
I want to go back to that day, that track meet. Were you guys at the event at that track meet on April 2nd?
No, we were not. I was actually supposed to go to the track meet, but the weather was so bad. I just stayed home. It's like, Mama, don't come. Just stay home.
Mm-hmm.
And now, looking back on everything, I wish I was there. I regret not being there for my child.
Mm. When did you hear the news that there had been an incident that day?
I received an email saying that there was an incident, no phone call, no anything.
You know how
my instinct was because Karmelo, he's the type of child to let me know everything that's going on. And it wasn't like him to not call me and tell me what was going on. So when I received the email, we have Life 360. So I went into Life 360. I'm like, wait, they said the buses made it back to the school, but Karmelo location is still stating that he's at the stadium. Like, what's going on?
Now, I have a problem with this. 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 Because I get it that Karmelo, even though he was 17 at the time of the incident, they charged him as an adult. Ugh, Glitzful, you're a black Republican. Okay. Anyway, so I'm in it. Now I know everywhere else, 17 is considered a minor. In the state of Texas, though, police are legally allowed to physically arrest a 17-year-old without prior parental consent or knowledge if they have probable cause that a crime was committed. So, once again, it goes back to Karmelo should have kept his mouth shut when the police arrived on the scene and not made those spontaneous statements of, I'm not alleged, I did it. I was protecting myself. I told him not to put his hands. Yeah, he said I was protecting myself. He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He should have not said anything, because if he would have kept his mouth shut, said absolutely nothing, they would have had to detain him, interrogate him. They would have had to notify his parents. But because of what he said, they were able to detain him and lock him up. It's not period, end of discussion. How am I attacking Jeff Metcalf when I'm not even talking about him? Y'all just like to come in here. You see this? We're talking about something. I hope everyone is observing this, including you, the Glitzful. You said you're a Republican and all of that. I hope you're paying attention to what's going on in my live right now. And you hear what I'm talking about. And you see how this person just came in here and attacked the black community, accused us of attacking Jeff Metcalf. When we're not even talking about that. Do you see this? Wow. The ignorance, oh, it never ceases to amaze me. And it's 1:46 a.m. It's 1:46 a.m., y'all.
So I headed to the school, and that's how I found out what happened.
And how I found out, I was actually in a work meeting, and when she first called me, I thought it was because it was right after April Fools. I was like, "Oh, y'all playing this?" Because he doesn't. This is not him. Yeah. So I was on, "Oh, you playing? All right, whatever." But she was like, "No, he was involved in the stabbing." So when we heard that, I didn't know what happened at the time, and they kept us from everything. Like they kept us. So we running around from place to place, and it was everything was just moving so fast that day. I never forget. It was just like everything. Then once we found out he went to his bond hearing. The next day, somebody doxed us.
Mm.
I don't want to say her name, but a lady started making this. They try to blame it on one person, not making them about race. But you had this lady that just went on to talk about white lives and all this other stuff.
Now I want to ask something, and I'm being so serious. He slipped and said Megan. Isn't there a Megan that runs with Sarah Fields? I'm just asking a question because I'm trying to figure out who Megan is. Let me know in the comments if you know.
And now it went boom. The race car started about, that's how Jake Lane and all these other guys got involved in this. But
which, by the way, let's not forget that Jake Lane was outside of the courthouse saying that Karmelo Anthony should be shot in the head and swinging from a tree. Least we not forget that those were Jake Lane's words, not mine. And that's what he said. And that's why he got arrested. Which, by the way, I'm probably going to pull Jake Lane's court docs tomorrow for y'all.
At the end of the day, this was a kid situation that a lot of adults made it about their personal, well, how they really wanted to feel. This is the time they wanted to show on how this is how we really feel about y'all. And they used my son, for example.
It sounds like you wish you had talked more, that you had said more, that you had got your story out more.
Now, before we get into that, Off-Road Runner, do you agree with Jake Lane's statements? I'm very curious to know if you agree with what he said. Let us know. Inquiring minds would like to know if you agree with Jake Lane's statements.
Myself trying, sometimes you could do the right thing, but it could be the wrong thing.
Did Karmelo want to get his story out more to the public as well?
He was trying to listen. He was trying to listen to what he was being advised.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, don't make it about race. Don't do this. Don't do this. So we was like, all right, we go again. We played the game they wanted. We did everything a law abiding citizen posted. They told us don't do this. We did everything we supposed to. And he wanted people, of course he wanted somebody. They got pictures of him being 17 with a dress on, saying he could be raped in jail, like all kinds of these adult.
So again, Roadrunner, you're talking about manslaughter is death by accident. You're way off base. No, you're way off base and you're deflecting because I asked you a specific question. I asked you if you agree with the statements that Jake Lane made. And now I'm going to ask you, do you agree with what they were doing by putting Karmelo Anthony in a dress and saying he was going to be raped when he got to prison? Do you agree with that? It's a simple yes or no. Do you agree with Jake Lane? And do you agree with threats of physical, sexual violation to Karmelo Anthony? Yes or no? It's a simple question. It ain't that hard. Don't deflect and don't disappear. Do you agree with the statements?
Adults are talking about this child, but nobody's seeing it. Like nobody's seeing it. So we can't say anything. The other family, they go paint this lie that nobody still have exposed, that he died in his brother's arms. And it was all
that's not true. Because that is the narrative. Yeah.
No, you never heard it no more. That was a lie. You heard about a bag. You never heard about a bag since trial. That's what I was telling people. A lie is temporary, but the truth lasts forever. Mm-hmm. It's just now, it's like harder now. I got to fight to get the truth out. He basically had to get the book thrown at him, 35 years in this county that.
Maybe don't bring a weapon to a sporting event on the good side of town. They lived on the good side of town. They're from the good side of town, you idiot.
Basically, I honestly feel as though that they manipulate us with a smile. Mm. They act as if they cared, but they really didn't. When they win the jury selection, we seen all the people with the jury selection. I was like, baby, this is not right. But my wife is the type of person. I'm not gonna just say us. We're both the type. We try to be positive. Hey, we're not gonna look at it. That's not what it is. That's not us. That's what it was.
So even when you noticed there were no Black jurors, it gave you pause. It made you want to say something, but you were.
So when he says, we did everything that they told us to do, he's talking about the attorney and Dominique Alexander. Dominique Alexander led them astray. how about this? How about you think on what you said and you go into timeout. Bye-bye. See you later. Go to the corner. And who is this? This lady is an idiot ranting about Miranda rights like she has a law degree. Oh, guess what? Okay. Bye-bye. Go to the corner. We'll see you a little later. Have a timeout. That's not answering the question. That's not answering the question, off-road runner. You said it's tragic, but Karmelo Anthony should have been sentenced to life. He got off easy with 35 years. That's not the question. The question was, do you agree with Jake Lane's statements of Karmelo Anthony deserving to be shot in the back of his head and swinging from a tree? And do you agree with the threats to have Karmelo Anthony raped in prison? Those are the questions. That's the question. Do you agree with that? It's yes or no. Either you do or you don't.
Still going along with the process.
Yeah, I was going on with the process because you know, there's a lot of times when I hope this don't be controversial, but that's the first thing they do is they try to say we're emotional. We don't follow instructions, right? So we did everything that we was advised and told to do, and look what happened.
So who is they? You said that they told you. Who is they? Was it your defense attorney?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we were because about him being 18. So what they did was they kind of played everybody against everybody, if you could say. I'm not going to say they played us against each other, but it's almost they had him scared, like, hey, this, I'm a lawyer, this.
So you hear it. The lawyer and Dominique Alexander. Okay, Moneybag said, why did he need a knife for a track meet, Henny? We don't know. And you know why we don't know? Because he never took the stand. And guess what? That's one of my questions that I would love to know. I want to know why he brought the knife to school. What was going on in his life that he felt he needed to protect himself with a knife? That's a question you and I are on the same page with. I want to know. Because good kids don't do stuff like this out of nowhere.
As me being a father, all right, you're the guy, I'm okay with playing my position, and I don't want to overstep any boundaries. Everybody kept saying, hey, to beat this. I even went to some black attorneys. They're like, oh, you need a white attorney to go out there to fight out there. Remember they were telling us that? They kept telling us that. So everybody like, why y'all there? Everybody was telling us, okay, so then
So this should explain why they ended up with the attorney that they ended up with for people who are saying they should have gotten a black attorney. This is why they did not get one, because they were advised not to get one. They were advised to go with the white attorney.
we get it. They basically tossed them over. A lot of objections wasn't done. It's a lot that wasn't done.
So do you believe your son received a fair trial?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And we're going to keep fighting. We will not stop fighting for justice for my son.
So basically, I know a lot of people have probably already seen that. If you have not already seen that video, then you can go over to the Breakfast Club, because that's whose video that is. And hopefully they don't bother me about playing that video, because the Breakfast Club can be very touchy about their content being used. So y'all can head over there and watch that, the rest of that from their channel. But it goes back to what I said before about the parents being the ones that are going through all of this. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that. I know there's some, people from the Black community who are like, good, whatever, woo-de-woo. Those are their feelings, okay? And they don't care to understand or to want to concern themselves with the pains of the mother. Again, I'm not really like desensitized to the father, but I'm sorry. It's a hard pill to digest for me with him because of all that he said. As soon as the gag order was lifted, everything he said, all that racist shit he said, I can't get with it. I'm sorry. I also cannot get with everybody painting Karmelo out to be this monster as if he's not this kid. That was in a messed up situation and it ended tragically. And now his life has changed forever. All these people, it wasn't a Swiss Army knife. No, it was not. Let me show you the knife. Before we go, let me show you the knife. That is the knife. Okay. So it was kind of like a pocket knife, but not like one of those pocket knives that you think of when you think of pocket knife. You think of one that's probably about the length of your pinky. Now, do you want to answer the question? I guess not. And you know what that means to me? The fact that he can't say yay or nay as to whether or not he agreed with Jake Lang and the threats and all of that tells me that he agrees with it. The fact that they keep coming in here and making it about race, I hope that this showed y'all something tonight. I hope this showed y'all something. Because all we've heard is a bunch of racist bullshit. Anytime they've decided to speak or just popped into the live. Anyway, 2 moms are grieving. One is grieving the death of her child, and one is grieving the other being imprisoned. Because when you have a child imprisoned, that's a grief. Can you give me my tablet, please? And be careful because it looks like it's not locked in. They're still grieving. While everybody is on a shit show making racist comments and all of the, I want to talk about the injustice that's happening. We can't help but point out people's skin color. Oh, that's that. Okay, let me make sure. Oh, my pen is in there. Good. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Look, he's back with the Kyle Rittenhouse. So either he's all the way back in the video, but let's look at what he's saying. Kyle Rittenhouse was running away after he was attacked by a mob. It doesn't matter where the gun was. You are just showing you have no idea what self-defense laws are. Wow. 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 Under Texas Penal Code Section 9.3, you are legally justified in using force to protect yourself when you reasonably believe it is immediately necessary to defend against another person's unlawful use or attempted use of force. Of force. Let's get into what force is. Under Texas law, the Penal Code does not provide a single explicit definition for the word force on its own. But Texas courts and statutes define it through its exertion and execution and impact. Physical altercations. This includes striking, punching, tackling, or physically restraining someone. Threats of force. Simply threatening to use force, such as displaying a weapon, is legally considered the use of force. Non-deadly force. Physical actions intended to protect yourself that are highly unlikely to cause death or serious injury, shoving an attacker away or holding him down. That is considered non-deadly force. Deadly force. Force that is intended or known by the actor to cause or in the manner of its use or indeed intended use is capable of causing death or serious bodily injury. So let's go back again, shall we? Under Texas Penal Code Section 9.31, you are legally justified in using force to protect yourself when you reasonably believe it is immediately necessary to defend against another person's unlawful use or attempted use of force. Unlawful use or attempted use of force. Force, non-deadly force, would be pushing, shoving. That's non-deadly force. Oh, let me do this. So mofos don't think that I'm just lying. Hold on. Let me do this. There it is. A person is justified in using force, and to the degree they reasonably believe it is immediately necessary to protect against another person's use or attempted use of unlawful force. Okay? And this right here, when self-defense does not apply according to Texas law, the reason why they kept saying that Karmelo started it is because provoking the difficulty, it automatically disqualifies you for self-defense. If you purposely start a fight or provoke someone to attack you so that you can have an excuse to hit them, your self-defense claim is invalid. That's why they were so busy trying to establish that Karmelo started the incident. And people like to take off the table the fact that this boy had epilepsy, which means that he suffers from seizures, which means that if he gets hit in his head, he could potentially have a seizure. People like to take that off the table. People also don't want to look at his good qualities and his accolades. They want to demonize him. I have not one time demonized Austin Metcalf. I have only told you what the kids testified to in court, which they've said that Austin was a bully. Mel will be here tomorrow night, who was in the courtroom, and he is going to break down everything the way that he's been breaking it down. He's going to talk to us about the testimony that was given in court. He's going to clear things up so that they are forever cleared up over here, and we can always reference to what it is that he said whenever we get ready to have conversations about this topic. There are other people who were also at the courthouse, like Queen Sheba Darling, like Neek at Night, who were taking their notes and doing their due diligence. So the information is there. It's just a matter of them wanting to go look it up and wanting to hear it. Because a lot of times people don't want to hear the truth. I wish people would stop with the BS and let's just be honest for a second. If the shoe was on the other foot and it was Austin that had stabbed Karmelo and Karmelo died and Austin got a jury of majority black women. Well, if he got a jury of 5 black women, 5 black men, 2 Middle Eastern women, 1 Middle Eastern man, an Asian woman, and a Hispanic woman, and an Indian woman, would they be okay with that? Would they say that that's a jury of his peers? If 3 white educators were dismissed because they were educators and they didn't want them to be biased, which left them with no white people on the jury, would they feel that that was a jury of Austin Metcalf's peers? Would they still be screaming murderer if it was Austin Metcalf who stabbed Karmelo Anthony? Or he shoved him with that linebacker drill that he did, and he fell and hit his head and had a seizure and died. Karmelo was tried as an adult, and you still have yet to answer my question. The same judicial system that allowed Kyle Rittenhouse to be acquitted from taking 3 lives. The same judicial system that allowed Clayson Allison to take the life of another, and he got 10 years. The same judicial system that allowed Rick Chow and his son Andy Chow, who I believe really killed Cyrus Belton, to get away with murder. That same system. Whew. Baby, this has been an interesting live. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to call it one. It is now 2:15. We have been over here for 3 hours on this live, and I have enjoyed it for the most part, even though we've had some really sketchy people, and I really didn't expect to get that many people in this live that I did, but I'm grateful. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Miss Pammy, you are tardy to the party. I'm about to get off. Yes, you're going to have to replay, darling. At the end of the day, love is always love, and it can never be changed. Okay? Shout out to all of you. I'm so sorry. I get it. But now, can you be the captain of the football team and he can't take a head hit? Oh, how can you be the captain of the football team and he can't take a head hit? He had to go head to head playing football. That I don't know. But he does have epilepsy. That's the medication that the parents were saying that he needed. I don't know. I didn't, honestly, if we're going to be honest, I didn't even know that you could play football when you had epilepsy. But I guess that's something we're going to have to look into. And the sad part about it is none of his coaches were there. His mom was the only one that spoke on his behalf. There's a lot of unanswered questions. The captain is the leader, had nothing to do with size. It had to do with leadership. He also had a football injury. Yes, he did, to his shoulder. He had injured his shoulder. Well, here's the thing. Nobody has come out and said that he was not the captain of the football team. None of the coaches have come out and said that that was a lie, that he wasn't the captain of the football team. But Mel will be here tomorrow, so we could ask Mel what was said by the coaches in court. So I hope you're here tomorrow, Tariq, because I do like your questions. I hope all of you are here. Oh, you're welcome, King CJ. I'm glad that you found it very informative. Listen, if you're a member of the channel, if you did not know, we did a members live yesterday for Wicked Wednesday, and it was about Rape Academy, where these men are drugging their wives and taking advantage of them while they are passed out and uploading their most intimate moments online for pay. Yeah, if you're a member, go check that out, because that was something serious yesterday. I may bring it public, I'm not sure. But in the meantime and in between time, when y'all rest well. Remember that love is always love. It never changes, it never alters, and it never deviates. It is patient, it is kind, it is understanding, and we all need to express a little bit more love in our lives. That's going to do it for this one. I will see y'all in the next one. Good night, good morning, everybody. 'Cause I don't want this simple life.